Hi all, I am Sanchi, and on behalf of Shine.com, I welcome you all to Shine Power Perspectives. Shine Power Perspectives is a first of its kind virtual debate series on issues that matter to the HR community. Top HR leaders will share their views with the audience about various trending HR topics in a rapid fire mode, which will be for or against the topic. Now, what's different? So, it's you, the audience, who decide the topic. To make this event experience exceptionally interactive for you, we're also introducing a new segment, Mystery Topic, which will let you, the audience invitees, choose a topic of your choice for the speakers via a poll conducted live at the event. Not only this, you will also get a chance to interact with the speakers on every issue with a short Q&A after each round of debate. So before starting, let's look at what Shine is. Now, I would like to introduce our panelists today. Mr. Felix Jeffrey, Director, Strategic Accounts, Talent Capital Management Group at HTC Global Services. Mr. Subit Sabharwal, Head of HR Service Delivery, Fujitsu Global Delivery Centers at Fujitsu. Mr. Hemant Kumar Ravi, Global Senior Manager, People Strategy and Transformation at Anheuser-Busch InBev. Ms. Surbhi Nikumba, AVP HR at Jaisik Devrient. Mr. Manish Singh, Business HR Head at Blue Star Limited. I welcome all of you to this event. Now,
Thanks, Sachi.
yeah. So now I would like to introduce a first topic for the debate, and each speaker will get 5 minutes to share their views. Audience can ask their question and answer questions in the Q&A option related to this topic. The first topic is hiring new talent versus retaining good talent. Which of them is a bigger challenge? Any of the speakers who would like to start?
Let me start then. Hi, Sumit.
Hi, everyone. Apologies for being 7 minutes late.
So good evening, everyone. It's a relevant topic for sure, but when it comes to hiring or retaining people, I think both are equally important. My understanding that if we'll talk about which one is more challenging, I would definitely go for hiring new talent in the current scenario, which is my understanding. Somehow it is a kind of understanding that retention starts from recruitment itself. And when you have to retain people, you have to go for the right sort of hiring. These are two coins, two sides of the same coin. If we will talk about, because hiring and retaining, remains pivotal for organizational success. That we all know, being into HR, that is something which is a known fact. But when we go for hiring and when we go for right sort of hiring, my understanding says that to hire right sort of people, quality of hire, we have to go for right sort of skill set. We have to go for right sort of competencies. We have to check the cultural fit. We have to go for diversity, and above all, there is a price tag for each position which you want to close, and that is also there. You have to close everything within the given time frame. So basis on that, when we go for hiring, it is becoming challenging day by day, and we all know that there is a scarcity of good talent available, and every company is competing for this shrinking talent pool. There are positions which are so difficult to close. Obviously, if we will talk about niche profiles like R&D or maybe procurement side of thing, it gets difficult to close. There are challenges in hiring. We all know. First, the fight of getting the right talent. Then thereafter, some challenges. There are multiple stakeholders. You have to convince everyone. You have to follow the process. Then you have to go for final hiring, and then the risk is involved. The risk is for a bad hire, and the risk is for offer decline, which is a kind of it's just a frequent thing now these days. Every good talent is having 2 or 3 offers in the hand, and in spite of all those things, you are working under some tight deadlines, under the tight budget, and ensuring that everything to maintain the business continuity, it should be closed well in time. There are other challenges also in this. Today we'll talk about the workforce of the generation which we are handling. Millennials, when we go for hiring, then they come with a different sort of perspective. They want everything. At times I felt that there is a restlessness in them, and taking a decision or convincing them for something, that is something also which is becoming one challenge. So hiring side, I would say that it is becoming challenging, and under the current scenario, when the entire industry is heading towards the recovery phase, hiring is becoming difficult day by day, and it matters also that in which industry we are fighting for. If your industry is very specific or a small industry, then believe me that hiring will be the next big challenge for us in coming at least 1 year of time till the time the business comes to back to the normalcy. That's how I look at it. I would love to listen others' views.
So I can add on. So very well put, Manish. I think, and most of us from the HR fraternity will agree that both of them are challenging, and both of them have their own set of challenges and issues. But let's look at the current attrition percentage, which is a normal. I mean, it's called the Great Resignation era. That's what these few months are being called off from the industry perspective. So I would like to put a different perspective. What if we were able to retain our talent? I don't think this issue would have even arose if we are able to retain, let's say, out of 50% of the current attrition target. New positions, I'll keep it aside, because we are seeing a business growth. Most of us in the IT industry have seen an unprecedented rise in the new hirings going on. So that's a separate discussion. But if we are able to retain our talent, if we had proactively done stuff around retention, around employee engagement, probably the industry would not have gone through such a big turmoil. So that's where I feel retention is a proactive way, is a better suited way, and is more challenging. Now, if I look at why we have not been able to retain people, there are various external factors involved. Suddenly a certain industry comes in and pays through the top. So of course, probably those external factors we may not be able to curtail and beyond our scope of influence. But if we look at the internal factors, what we have done in terms of development. So most of our engineers, I'm into a R&D field for the last decade or so. So all these R&D engineers, all these technology engineers want to grow technically. I think that's the reason why this industry is such a fast moving industry. So what have we done in terms of retaining and developing people? How have we engaged them? How have we coached our managers to take care of the workforce? I think these are the few things across the years. Gradually, if we would have invested in, probably the turmoil would have been a little less. And I still see there are companies, a few companies I've worked off in the past. They are not facing such a huge attrition challenge. I mean, I think it's there, but because of the way they have managed their workforce, because the way they have developed their workforce, engaged with their workforce in the pandemic era, few of them are still at ease. The others, of course, all of us, including me, I'm going through this challenge right now, and we are in fact, reactively looking at ways to curtail this percentage. We have been successful in a few, not been successful in a few. But yeah, to answer the basic question, I feel retention is a bigger challenge and involves a higher cost, because I'm losing a trained workforce. So that's my viewpoint.
Okay, I think I'll pitch in now. So, Hemant this side, thanks for inviting me, and thanks Manish and Survi for sharing a perspective. Right, I come from 15 years of techie experience. In the sense I've been into HR, mostly HR BP, and 2 years as a techie. So the millennial culture, every 3 years hopping job and things like that. uh, I'm the prime example of such a scenario, right? So I will tell you, I correlate with Manish's viewpoint, I correlate with Surya's viewpoint. I'll try to put some objective, interpretation of whatever has been happening in the industry, what Gartner says, what McKinsey is saying these days, and things like that, right? Because I'm into something which is helping me, globally take a perspective on talent. So what is talent, first of all, right? We are talking about not an average employee that we want to hire and fire it, not the 100% of the talent pool. We're talking about specific, if you look at the problem statement or the debate point, we're talking about talent. And talent in my mind is hypo, they're high potential, high performing people. And I'll go with the Pareto law, 20% of these folks will do 80% of your organization job. So they are hyper skilled in the sense, they will not be sticking to the same role doing year on year. They want project-based kind of engagement. You have to keep them on their toes, understand the entire employee value proposition. It will touch upon what's the kind of compa you are giving at, what is the kind of the employee culture that you have brought into the organization, what is the kind of flexibility that we have to offer, the career pathing, career growth. All of these things are the kind of softer touch point, and you'll see this through various listening skills, listening platform like say Glassdoor. You'll have a kind of feedback about these things. Diversity, that is my thought process being valued. I come from a kind of tier 2 city or a tier 3 city. Diversity in India is quite abroad, North Indian versus South Indian, then people coming from different kind of the pedigree and things like that. So my thought process is talent acquisition is no way a easy job, right? Definitely it is an very high demanding, high touch point in external market facing role. But when you come about engaging talent, retaining talent, doing talent management, it touches upon various facets of HR, almost everything, and it also touches recruitment, because if your value proposition is not good, these guys are your brand ambassador. Those guys who are there in-house, if they are not happy, they will voice it out into various platforms, right? So they become your brand ambassador. They will do the employee referral program. 70% of hiring in various companies that have worked in the past, like say Accenture, Wipro, L&T in Middle East. So these companies, we have done hiring through referral 70% of the time. And then that's my secret sauce of any organization culture. So in my mind, I'll not be biased because I've been doing HRPP, but I feel being in the organization, retaining them is very difficult, and it talks about continuous coaching to these guys, that where your career is moving to, what are the various things we are there to offer. Every time you have to do various kind of initiatives, and we are talking about VUCA world wherein business is changing. They will say, I'll start doing transformation. I will do something which is about cost cutting at the the lower level. I'll start doing RP. I'll start doing automation. You have to keep their apprehension in check. You have to engage them and keep them motivating for future, not through carrot and stick model, but there has to be something really meaningful for them. So I think that's where I feel there is a upper cut for the talent engagement side, or retaining the talent. My thought. Happy to hear others' perspective.
So I'll go probably next, if I may. Am I audible to you guys?
Yes, Amit.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think none of us can probably answer this question with one approach. I think our businesses are different, our business needs are different. The COVID has a very different phases for us to respond to it. But some of us, at least in my case, at a Fujitsu level, we were at an initial stage of safety of an employee, then protecting business, then co-creating business, and then transforming business. I think we've gone through the 4 stages in it every 6 months. But still, if I need to kind of slightly bend towards one of these sides, it would be about retaining talent, because at the end of the day, what you need to do is, once people come through the door, you need to kind of get them to stay with a brand for a longer duration. And of course, it's equally important in terms of from a hiring perspective, but that can be still dovetailed by the strategy of making a better pyramid, or kind of running through a structured training programs that you would have. I think for us, there hasn't been a big challenge because of our brand and our employee value proposition from a hiring perspective, but we still kind of in a market like India, we still kind of look out for the best of the talent and try to get the best of the talent on board. I think what has worked for us in terms of retaining talent, where a lot of focus is to create the niche. So I think, as you would understand, while a lot of focus is on technical training, we also have a lot of focus around building learnability. So we encourage people to learn another language like Japanese, because while you may be technically sound, learning a language is not an easy skill. And once you kind of build a skill, you have an interest to stay in that ecosystem. So that's our glue. We want to create an organization which encourages people to learn and take up challenges, which could be not just technical knowledge, but language and other life skills that they would have. I think also for us, from a retention perspective, have been very clear about driving inclusivity, which is a very diverse workforce. And I think as even before COVID, we were kind of great promoters of diversity, but I would tell you that it has benefited us in the last 2 years. Getting a diverse workforce, it's not easy to kind of get diverse workforce to come on the same page to start with, but then over a period of time, when you stitch it with the value of respect, it works pretty well because people start contributing and we see ideas coming all over the place. I think last two things I would say that we've been doing in kind of retaining talent is investing into talent. So not just kind of giving them training, but kind of getting a lot of graduates and kind of working with them on various skill areas that we focus on. And I think the last thing that has worked, at least for last 1 year, is we have put a very dedicated focus around our manager community. Because how would you imagine hiring managers and not giving them a formal training in a training room for 2 years and expect them to lead teams? The whole span of control has changed. So even if a candidate today is sitting through an interview, he's saying, whom do I report to? Will I ever meet that person? How would he manage me? What will be the emotional quotient of that person? So I think a lot of time we focus around on getting the resources and thing. I think in last 1 year we've focused quite a bit around on manager development programs, and I think that has been a key for us to get good employee satisfaction as well as retainership in terms of employees staying. Net, while Surbhi, you very rightly said what we call it as the resignation tsunami or hiring challenges we see. Indeed, we do see. But I think in part of the world where I'm coming from, it was very short-lived, like a wave 2 of a COVID. We are back onto kind of very normal hiring. Our rate of offer to join ratio has decreased and we've kind of improved. But I think from a long-term perspective, Hemant, as you said, it is very important that we kind of build towards, creating an ecosystem where people feel inclusive and they stay with the organization for longer duration. So that's my 2 cents of inputs from Fujitsu.
Thanks, Sumit. Yeah, it's always an advantage to go last. So yeah, thanks so much. I think you guys, right from Hemant to Surabhi to Sumit, you guys put up all the the current analysis in the on what is like what you call it as my take would be I would be a little pro retaining talent. Of course, because as you invite somebody into the door, I think you need to keep them there. But of course, there is a transformation, where you call it your digital transformation or technology transformation, where you can't upskill or cross-train people. You may have to definitely go for new hires, where the technology advancements definitely paves way for us to new hires. But what you could do is, it's a cluster of everything here. I think you need to engage well, as Ruby said, and having that kind of what Smith finally said, like, hey, you know what, we were looking at people rather than looking at business. I think that's the kind of a notion that you need to spread for your organization to be there in the hemisphere for a longer. See, you can just, as Hamish mentioned, the kind of he himself being there, of course, the millennial crowd, if you pay me 1 lakh, 2 lakh more, I see that for us, you can get into a point like you can say, now I'm saturated, or I'm sufficient, or I'm satisfied. But this is a competitive world. You need to understand folks are just competing with each other, and they are just, wanting to be up there. Of course, there are no shortcuts. You need to really sustain and work, evolve. But as an organization, you need to build a kind of an ecosystem where you're going to tell them, hey, you know what? I'm not going to hire and fire. I'm going to keep you there, and I'm going to just ensure that you are with me long term. So what is, all your developments and all of that, I think the managers or your hierarchy, where you call it your delegation of authority, I think you need to make them to feel comfortable. If you give them the kind of a growth and the learning curve, I think retaining talent is always not going to be that difficult. But you plug and play, and if you want to plug and play in some areas, of course, the just-in-time opportunities and the business dynamics make us to definitely do that, because you can't have a consistent approach that's going to define the hiring strategy. we tweak roadmaps, and you always have to do that because the dynamics keep changing and the customer is king end of the day, right? And today he says, look, I need this 50 resources. They are great. But then comes the time, says, I feel a little, keep them back and send me another set of people. So I think we need to understand the dynamics, and that is where we think we have to be a little ethical as an organization, following the practices of the core values on how you want to build your talent. And I keep saying the gone of the days is human capital. We call it the intellectual capital, and the intellectual capital is the biggest asset for as far as research is concerned. We are a right-sized company. I would not say it to the tune of the rates like Fujitsu and all of that, but like 15,000 plus kind of a company where we are, but we are facing, or rather we are standing tall when it comes to business. And I would not say competition. I'd say whenever we come at the kind of, we are there in one of the RFPs as well. We are able to stand tall. So that is basically harnessing and keeping the right talent with you to be at that level and, grow your business without, creating a red ocean, which probably is now. So probably when you create a red ocean, it's going to be a difficult time for everybody. Where I think we should work out a model that is going to be helpful in creating a blue ocean where everybody is happy. I think one last point that I would like to touch upon is the diverse kind of the cultural fit is one, but I think we should be receptive to accepting talents from across everywhere. I think a little long sight on that will help to dynamic talent, which will definitely enable to have that kind of a balance for organizations to get to the next level. Thanks so much.
It was a great discussion. The second topic which we would debate on is, will diverse workforce impact the productivity? Mr. Hemant, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll start. Sure. So on this point, it will be one of the key component of employee value proposition. And there's a famous saying: if diversity is invited, inclusion is meant to dance. What it means, you're bringing people from different background perspective and put them in a kind of what do you say, dancing hall or a banquet hall, but they will not perform unless they feel invited. So you're supposed to make that cohesive environment, bring that culture of equity, belongingness, and that's when things start really synergizing. So I think first of all, it is very pivotal to have this kind of perspective that diversity is important. Why? If you have 15 set of people or 1,000, whatever number of people you're talking about, if they come from same background, same pedigree, same demographic, they will think almost similar. That's the basic psychometric assessment. So if you have people from different background, you get a not a unidimensional perspective. You get a kind of innovative ideas, creative ideas. A man versus a female, how they think about the thing. A person coming from very limited resource kind of upbringing versus someone who is having plethora of opportunities will be thinking differently. So it really makes a good cohesive environment if you have diversity, and then you have to create a kind of culture, a DNA wherein everyone feels invited to share their thought process, so that overall productivity of the organization starts increasing. So that's in a nutshell is going to be my pitching the pitch that I'll try to talk about. I'm more than happy to hear perspective, but diversity, the same point that Manish was talking about, millennials, right? And what Felix also touched upon. So I hopped jobs, right? But not because salary was coming and that was happening. It's always difficult to go to a new company and set up your rapport. You have been doing something for 3 years somewhere, you have built that rapport, and all of a sudden you move to a new company, new environment. Are you feeling comfortable there? There will be a lot of anxiety. So I'm talking from millennial perspective. They find meaningful job more important than just salary. I had this Wipro tenure in 2015 to 2019. What happened there was a lot of guys were saying, it's 5 p.m., 6 p.m., sir. I would like to go to Cult. I'm from Bangalore, so I'm not sure about others. But then Cult Fit is a kind of cult here in Bangalore. So everyone would like to be there hitting the gym at around 6 p.m. And you have to respect that thing. I had a senior manager in Middle East. So he was saying, around 3 p.m., I have to be there feeding my kid. So that 1 hour you give me and rest I can, swap through. So So these are the kind of things we have to be flexible as an organization, and that brings diversity in thought process. Let people come from different background, and I'm a certified products owner or Scrum certified product owner. There, what happens, not everyone is supposed to be techie. You bring functional consultant, you bring domain consultant, you bring someone who has not done that thing for all forever. He comes from finance background. So then the new idea generation happens, and I feel that is a real power of a kind of diverse and inclusive organization. And, just my thought. Happy to hear from others.
Yeah, thanks, Hemant. I think everybody would be agreeing on this, that diversity increases the productivity. No second thought about it, because many elements are involved now these days when we talk about the overall workplace, and people from different or diverse background gives a lot of many things. It is the reason for high morale, efficiency, effectiveness, and overall engagement. And when the overall workforce is engaged, then obviously the results are really good. So it is a proven fact that some of the research reports says that if there is a diverse workforce, then the productivity may go up to 35%, which is the result of many reports. I would add whatever you said, that obviously when we talk about creativity, innovation, it cannot come with the group thinking. Group think is when like-minded people or similar background people are working together, and then they want certain things as per their own choice, or their opinions are also similar, and they think in that same direction. So in that scenario, things will not work well for sure. And when once we go for it, the diverse workforce, obviously, they are having better innovative ideas. They are having better problem solving skills. They are having better decision making. Better decision making definitely gives you good results. It definitely delivers results for the higher revenue, and higher rewards also for the people, those who are working for it. So in any case, when the diverse workforce is there, no second thought, results will be good and the productivity will be improved. But you know there is always a con side also. Having diverse workforce at your workplace, it's not so easy. You have to create that environment. And organizations, obviously, good organizations with those who are working into that direction in a very focused manner are getting a lot of success, but not all the companies. We need to have that culture in the organization, that diverse workforce is accepted and welcome. Apart from that, it comes with some potential conflicts also. It comes with miscommunication also. You imagine that in your workplace, if five different background people or employees from five different countries are working, you can we can understand that which kind of problems may also occur. So diversity, obviously, Stephen Covey said that once, strength lies in differences, not in similarities. So it's a fact. The only thing is that we, obviously, as an organization or as an HR professionals, we need to manage or create that environment where people can flourish, people can come and then contribute for the success of organization. Then only productivity gets increased. Otherwise, diversity has its own repercussions also. If we are trying something which is not a part of the culture of the organization, but if we are imposing something, it will be having bad impacts also. I would go for that.
Sure.
I
So
would love to
basically,
listen from others.
sure. Thanks. So I'll talk about my own journey as a DNI enthusiast. And Hemant, what a very started his conversation with a very interesting part. You can bring people to a dancing room, but till they are not actually dancing, that's not inclusion. So diversity is important, but what we are doing to engage that diverse workforce is equally important. So the first decade was about sensitizing people about the importance of diversity. It started slowly with the gender diversity era, wherein you hire female workforce, and uh, thanks to the IT boom in India, we caught up, and a lot of new best practices were started off by this industry, and then of course it got cascaded into various other industries as well. And now we see manufacturing companies like Pepsi and Cola talking about complete setup of a manufacturing being run by female workforce. So that's one part of diversity. Then came the LGBT and the Rainbow Weeks, started off from global, and now we see slight challenge changes happening in the Indian arena. Some positive, some not so great. So I'll not get into those details, but that's how the whole thing has been. Now we are talking about age diversity. So that's, those are 3 4 main dimensions of diversity. And as an organization, what we have done to talk about the inclusion part of it. For example, I'll talk about my previous organization, Striker, which is a medical healthcare firm. And in that we said, okay, R&D, we have, and we had an R&D workforce, and we had a sales and service workforce. So R&D engineers, great, we have 30% diversity, 20% diversity, and year on a year it was a good sustainable progress there. Sales people, the girls, the ladies had to go to doctors, to hospitals in B tier, C tier towns, and as basic facility and amenity as a decent washroom was not available. Plus, carrying heavy operational equipments, moving from, in a place like a Jaipur or a Patna or a Dhanbad was not easy. So we saw people, a lot of my colleagues leaving and moving to a different industry where there was a corporate sales involved. So then we went back and said, I am, as an HR or as a DNI enthusiast, we are ready, we are hiring this workforce, but what we are doing to retain them? What is the policy we are getting in place? Did we even speak to the hospital and talk about, can we get something, a facility for them? Can we speak to doctors? Because the salespeople were not only there selling people, they were also involved in the operation theater, in the operation room, training surgeons, training the technicians. So what we are doing, because they have to spend their whole day from 4 a.m. in the morning till 7 p.m. in the evening. So can we tie up with the infrastructure team to help support that workforce? So what I'm trying to say is it's a journey there. In my previous organization, I was the India lead for diversity. We started from a gender one. In this current organization, GND, it's a German first, and till last year it was a pure German Bavarian workforce. This year we have diversity as the, one of the top 3 strategies, right from top down. So from Munich, which is our headquarter, to everywhere in the world, we're talking about diversity. And we started our discussion not with gender or not with a rainbow week. We started off with age-based diversity. So right now we are running sessions wherein we are inviting boomers, we have people who have been with us for 30, 35 plus years across the globe. So we invite them into the room, we invite these Gen Zs into the room and talk about what is the learning, how do we learn from you? How do we, I mean, how does experience matter vis-a-vis how does this new technology change matter? It has been a very nice and healthy discussions. So that's the span of diversity luckily I have been able to expose myself to, there are various studies. I mean, right now there's a 2020 study from McKinsey talking about how productivity in companies who are invested in diversity from 2014 to 2020 has gone from, let's say, I have just have this data handy with me. The difference was 15%. And in 2019, the difference has gone out to 25% in the companies who have focused on gender diversity vis-a-vis not focused on gender diversity. And then there are other dimensions of diversity. Also, they have published similar data for similar set of diverse workforce. So that's my 2 cents around diversity and inclusion. So anybody else would like to add on?
Yeah, I mean, a quick one from me in terms of from a Fujitsu standpoint of view. I think the audience here and the panel would be more interested in knowing best studies, example. I think pretty much I would focus on 2 areas where we're focusing. While all the things we've talked about from gender diversity and all is very relevant for us. We're the first Japanese company which is committed to the UN on SDGs called the Sustainable 17 Goals, development goals, which we have. So I think we've got the whole organization tie up to a common thread of each of the employee given an opportunity to be part of this UN Sustainable Development Goals, which are 17, from lanyards to community programs to contribution. We have tied ourselves to a very larger society purpose, and I think it's kind of driving inclusivity. And one of the ways for us, inclusivity is when you have these kind of 17 global threads, people come together and feel more inclusive. So it's very similar to creating the different dance floors where people of similar interests come back and they dance together and feel inclusive as the part of a big hall. The other area where we're focusing a lot on is called the ERGs, the Employee Resource Group. I think as a brand, we are very well known in the market to drive inclusivity with communities of practices, whether it's parenting, whether it is about pets, whether it's about old age, whether it's about interest. I think that's the glue that works, and most of these ERGs are run by employees and supported by HR in terms of policy alignment, because I think a lot of these ERGs cannot just independently work. We need to create that ecosystem within the organization to support. So I think these are two things which we kind of focus on diversity. And I think, I mean, there's no science around what is the productivity with diversity. I mean, reality of it is we can debate all about it, but if you create a very good working environment for any kind of people with similar skill sets also, they will be productive. So I still don't get this question of saying diversity will improve productivity. I think if you're creating the right environment in the organization, I think productivity will improve. And I think that's what we're all looking forward to, not just from a diverse workforce. So that's my two cents on this particular question.
So just to add on to Sumit, the last part about having a diverse workforce, having any workforce and providing them opportunities to prosper. Of course, that's true. But when you talk about having a diverse workforce, there's a and of course, I mean, you rightly said there are data to prove, but it also talks about the difference in providing the same opportunity to a workforce and to a diverse workforce. So there is a difference and a marked difference. Which is there in the, so that's where I was.
And I agree, Surabhi. It is, the difference is the effort. So I think organizations should be consciously taking effort. But yes, my sense of it is we confuse a lot of youngsters by saying get diverse workforce and it will be high productivity. What we probably should be saying is that, are we taking the right efforts towards making the people to have an equal playing field so that they all can perform? I think we both are speaking the same language. The only difference is that are organizations calling diversity just because it's more interesting and it is a good statement to position the brand with? I think the reality of it is what's the base. And I'll tell you, a lot of people talk about LGBTQ+. I've been in forums where I said, apologies, my people do not even know what is an ally. Right. And my focus is 6,000 people should talk and understand the word ally more than what is LGBTQ+ and how we can help. Because if somebody is going to walk up to you and say, I'm a gay or a lesbian, do we even know how to react to that situation?
Absolutely. Very true.
So I think that's where we need to get our heads around.
Right. It starts with education. That's given. I mean, be it when the gender diversity was being promoted. So what we were doing to educate our people, it starts top down, and it really works. So thanks for bringing that point.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sumit, and thanks, Surabhi. Being a great ambassador, I could see that for DNI. Yes, we need people like you, and you guys walk the talk, and you. I mean, there is nothing much to add. As I would just look at this diverse workforce for me, rather when I look at it, collaboration, right? Enable the collaboration, and I think any workforce, including the diverse workforce, should bring in productivity. That collaboration is the kind of an environment you create, and without any bias, as he said, rightly, Sumit, that's, you don't know when somebody comes in and shows me or however they want to present, we don't know how the recipient would react to that particular person, application, or whatever it might be. At some point in time, it has to be, somebody has to know about it, even if you create a team. I don't think so that it has to be like for the brand per se. Organizations find it's a good term to use, but I think we should look at it as an individual and what the person, he or she, or whatever it might be, can bring into the organization and help them with the kind of the kind of a right platform, and without diversity or without doing anything, different, if you can enable them, and then it all comes with all about the efforts and in individual performance and all that. But there is one more aspect of it is like, um, I always felt that perspectives, different perspectives. So a little cue from what I think Hemant was mentioning about coming from different cultural backgrounds, and all of that. I will not say the societal backgrounds or whatever it might be, but then bringing in a kind of a new equation to the table. As always, I've seen that, when we go for a discussion, people, when you let them to collaborate, when you give them the kind of ask them to take responsibility in contribution, or rather contribute to something. I think more of again, when you welcome contribution, people are more energetic and they are willing to give their purpose. Some perspectives from different people. When you hear that right, it really gives you great solutions. And I've seen that. So I would say diverse workforce always welcome, and it is there to stay. But diversity versus productivity, I would not equate that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's now time to start a poll around the mystery topic, where our audience will decide the third topic. Would request all the audience members to be a part of it and vote for the topic you want our speakers to debate on. The poll is live for 1 minute. Would request you to vote. So there's a tie between impact of increasing flexibility in organization, positive or negative, or hiring virtually or in person. Which one do you prefer?
Sanchi, I would suggest that we should take Mr. Sumit Sabharwal's inputs first because he will have to leave at 5 p.m. Mr. Sumit, your inputs on any of the topic you would like to comment on.
Yeah, I'll take the easy one, the last one, a 38% vote. I think each one of us should have a choice now to pick from these two. Can't ask for better. Hiring people in person or virtually, very debatable topic. If you would have asked me this question 2 years back, I would have given you all answers around artificial intelligence and what machine learning can do to all HR heads because we were struggling. But after 2 years, I would be very happy to interview people face to face because, we miss the human interaction and, we miss the connect. A lot of our managers are actually talking, saying that can we do at least one round of human connect? And I think as HR professionals, we need to kind of start facilitating a little back to work kind of an environment in a safer context. But that would be my preference. But as organizations sizes and needs differ, volume hiring is still happening through digital platforms, which I think most of us are kind of leveraging on. But given an opportunity, at least if I'm hiring for the HR team, I would like to have a face-to-face conversation. It's always a delight to talk to people and who will work with you short to long term in an organization. And apologies for exiting early, which will be a bit impolite for me, but I have a hard stop. But that will be my response. Thank you, Vasundhara.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining the panel today. It was an honor to have you. Sanchi, you can continue with other panelists.
Yeah, Mr. Felix, would you like to continue?
Yeah. Yes. So which one do I pick up? Which questions do I mean? Can you just show that three Is there any talk? Can you read that out again, please?
So you can choose any one of them, either impact of increasing flexibility in organization, positive or negative, or you can choose hiring virtually or in person. Which one do you prefer?
Okay. Okay, I'll go with the first one since Sumit took the last one. All right, impact of flexibility you mean by giving them the flexible platform or enabling people to work from anywhere, right? Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I think now this pandemic has taught me kind of a lesson whereby things have really where we once felt that life has come to a stall and we got nothing to move forward, and we traversed through that path, and we have now come up more stronger with, of course, with using all this collaborative tools, and if we had a glitches in our organization, but now if you see that our productivity has been had a stall, or rather had a little dip while we all started working from home, and then gradually it picked up, and I would say that it's still there hovering at that stage. I mean, not a dip again, but then people are starting to feel that they should have that human connect or come to office at least for some time, because we are also social animals, and then we need to have people come to office and all that. But still, there is a huge percentile of people who would want to continue with this working from home model as long as they do not hinder. So I would see that we draw a balance of giving flexibility as well as having a kind of some SOPs to have some percentile of your workforce come to office, and then give the flexibility to people who are more comfortable working from home. Thank you.
Would request our panelists to give their quick viewpoint on the topic as we are running out of time. Mr. Manish, would you like to continue?
Sure, Sanjay. So, in my understanding, if we are giving flexibility to employees, obviously it has a positive impact. Lot many employees, definitely they're willing to come back to office, but now the hybrid work model will work. This is going to be the reality. Most of the employees, I do not know about the scenario when the next couple of months how it will be, whether the third wave of COVID will come or not. But certain things which are working well, employees understand their work. Employees understand that they have become more responsible, more accountable in terms of what exactly they're supposed to do, and flexibility has given them that liberty. My understanding. So when we are giving flexibility to employees, they are having a better work-life balance. We are not saying that they will be always working from home. We will be mentioning that it will be a kind of mix of. There will not be any, if we'll talk about pre-COVID era, the way we were visiting offices, we are not asking anybody to come, but definitely offices are open. 40%, 50% of employee strength is visiting office, and there is a roster available for everyone. So those who want to visit office, they will be having the flexibility. That is also one flexibility. And those who want to work from home, that flexibility is also there. And overall, I would say that it has given a positive impact on overall productivity as well as the mood of the employees. The sentiment which has gone down, I'm sure that with this sort of flexible working environment available, then everybody is happy, feeling better in terms of overall scenario. That's what is my say. I would request now others to add on.
So I think we can wrap it up. I totally agree. Flexibility is important, and I think flexibility in all the perspectives, not only about work from home or coming to office, but if you really need an entrepreneurial culture in your organization, you have to empower your people to make decisions. And leaders are not by the post or designation. They are supposed to be taking ownership end to end, drive things to make it happen, and really be the custodian of the culture and values. So we have a company policy that employees are the owner. They have to think customs, client centricity, and really see where money can be, rationalize, where you can save money, where you can make money, things like that. So be the the kind of entrepreneur end to end, right? And we are talking about a company which is 500 plus beer brand. Another Bush InBev, that's a company, but Budweiser, Corona, Stella, these are the brand you will correlate with, or Beck-Size. This is company of companies, and across the globe we are spread across 54 countries. The common theme that connects with them is no one cares that what time you come, what time you go, or whatever. If the office job or the job requires you to travel, you will travel. If the job requires you to be in the war room, solve the problem, you solve the problem. So I think flexibility is to let people be the true wholesome themselves and able to do what you will do if the company is yours. That will be my wrapping up point.
Ms. Surbi?
So I think most of the points have been spoken about, but yeah, that's key today is not about calling people or not to calling people. In the last 2 years, if I look at, probably 2 years back, I would have spoken about a work from home policy or a flexibility and training managers on how to uh, create a mobile workforce. But 2 years down the line, I really, and all of us are yearning for that connect with our teams, our people, our leaders. So that's what pandemic has taught me personally and taught a lot of us personally as well here. The key is giving people the flexibility and creating a hybrid workforce. So calling people back to works will be difficult or a challenge. Yes, it will be a challenge because there are some who have gone back to their hometown. There are some who plan to operate from different cities. So let's give people that flexibility, depending on the business situation, of course. I mean, that probably is applicable only for the software development workforce or an IT workforce primarily. Others, I always give that classic example of, since I am from a pharma medical industry background, what if the doctor says I'll be working from home? Will you be ready to even get the surgery done over with the help of junior doctors or technicians? No. Will the pilot be working from home? No. So these are and it creates a huge workforce. More than 80% of a workforce has to operate from the office location, including right now in my company. It's we are into currency technology, so we are into these machines, um, which helps bank manage their entire currency management, so on and so forth. So right now it's a lab based job. A few of us are working, few of us we have given people a choice of a hybrid workforce. So you come X number of days, X number of hours, and that's what probably it will span out to be. Giving a complete work from home, we see that the trend is kind of reducing, and giving people an option to choose how they want to plan their workforce, when do they want to come, what time, where do they want to operate from. I think that's the essence, and that's how the future is going to span out to, my personal and my organizational take as well.
Thank you. On behalf of Shine.com, I would like to thank our panelists today. Thanks everyone for being a wonderful audience and making the session so much interactive. Recording of the webinar will be shared with all the attendees along with the feedback mail. Thanks everyone. This is Sanchi signing.